man, physical media man, physical media man. What'd you buy? Was it something good?
What's up, guys? Physical Media Man back here again for another bonus video. We got the February monthly movie reviews. We have watched this stack of movies and seasons for the month of February. Not a whole lot, but we got quite a few things in. Not as much as January, I don't think. So yeah, this is everything we watched. I'm going to go over everything and give it a rating. Before I get started, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, leave feedback, do all that good stuff down below. I'll leave the links to my Instagram, my Physical Media Man store Instagram, my Facebook page for the Physical Media Man / Physical Media Man store, my Facebook page for non-media related items, the Hodgepodge Garage, my eBay, my email, my Twitter, and my Film Aficionado page where you can follow along with my collection, which is not yet up to date, and my wish list of movies I'm after. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So first up, we watched The Incredibles. This was a rewatch, I believe, for both of us. Hadn't watched it in a long time. And it follows a family where they're all superheroes, or they all have special powers. And superheroes are kind of outlawed, and then this bad guy kind of brings them back out to stop him. So don't really know how else to explain it without ruining anything, but very good. Craig T. Nelson does a voice. Holly Hunter does a voice. Jason Lee's a voice in this. Samuel L. Jackson is fantastic as always. Giving this one an A-. Really enjoyed it. It was just as good as I remembered. So then we watched next, and even 5 days later, we watched The Incredibles 2. First time watch for both of us. We missed it in the theater, but I got it from the Disney Movie Club. So this one, or no, they get outlawed because of the first one. So the first one, they aren't really outlawed as much. But then they find out the rest of the family is how much their powers are, and they kind of all come together and help out in this one. Different villain. Samuel L. Jackson's still in it. Liked it even more than the first one. Giving this one an A. Okay. Next up, we went and watched High Fidelity at a local, or not local, Indianapolis theater. It was a really cool experience because everyone there was fans of the movie, or had at least seen it. So there was cheers. It's kind of like a rowdy crowd, and the speakers they had set up, it was like you were at a concert how loud they were, but it kind of added to the experience. And then he was there afterwards for a Q&A. So the movie follows a record store owner, and he's all about top 5 lists of different things. So the movie follows his top 5 breakups, and one of them is he's currently in the breakup. Jack Black's in this, and he's fantastic. Kind of helped propel his career. Of course, John Cusack, and there's some other good actors in it too. I really enjoyed it just as much as the first time I had seen it. I think it's fantastic, and it's based on a book. But anyways, the Q&A, the questions that a lot of people answered from the crowd, and I should have gone up there and asked something, but I chickened out. They were just bizarre. A lot of people were just thanking him for coming and telling him how much they loved him, and it was just kind of strange. Some people didn't even ask questions. So I'm giving that part of it a C. It was cool to see him in person, and when he was asked a good question, it was interesting, but a lot of times they weren't very good questions. So, but I'm giving the movie itself an A+, and I don't think correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've given any A+, and that's going to change quite a bit on this video. So it's just a fantastic movie. So, and then next up, and I kind of had it out of order, and this might have gone from January into February, but we finished it in February. we got the second season of Stranger Things. Really enjoyed this. Didn't think it was as good as the first season, probably, but still very good. So it follows this group of friends, and it's kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons in real life type of deal, where there's demogorgons and stuff, and these scientists are in on it, and they have a friend that has powers, and I won't go into much detail. If you haven't watched it, I highly suggest it. It's very good show, and I'll give this one an A-. Next up, we went and watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in a nearby town with friend and viewer Corey as well. On this, knew a little bit about it. It's animated, and there's different Spider-Man. There's different Spider-Mans in the movie from different universes, and they all come together, try to stop this bad guy. And the voice acting is very good. I thought it was really done very well. There's a younger, so it mainly follows the younger Spider-Man who just is recently given the powers, and he's trying to figure out, and all these other ones, they've been Spider-Man forever, or for a long time, and he's just trying to figure it out, and they're kind of trying to help him. But the people they picked for the voices were great. And the different characters are really good. I mean, they're all Spider-Man, or different types of Spider-Man. And I thought that the way that it was shot and how they did... sorry guys, ran out of space again, and I didn't realize I'd been talking another like 5 or 10 minutes after it stopped. So anyways, I don't really want to go over too much more of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but I'm giving it an A+ as well. I thought it was fantastic. Can't wait to pick it up on Blu-ray or 4K. So, don't think I've talked about Heat. This is a Michael Mann film starring Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and Val Kilmer. And he actually made this movie before. I kind of want to check that out. I think it's kind of hard to find. But he made the movie and then made it again with a much better cast, and I think he might have changed up a little bit of the script and made the movie better. But this is about Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, and a group of bank robbers, heist people that they just did a job, and there's some heat on them, and Al Pacino's on their tail, and do they decide to do one last job and ride off into the sunset, or do they just decide to call it a day and not do another job? This movie is fantastic. It is 170 minutes, but the visuals are amazing. The dialogue's great. The acting's phenomenal. Highly recommend this one. I'm also giving this one an A+. So, really enjoyed it. It was a second time watch, but next up we watched Winning London with Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. This follows a group of twins, obviously, that they're in high school in this one, and one of them's on like an academic team and the other one's not, and they won some competition and were selected as the United States team to go over to London for where they almost are like they act like a country for the United Nations. So each country that's there is representing another country. They aren't representing their own country. And there's like a group of like 10 teams or something. This movie is very bad. I do not recommend it at all. I'm giving it an F. They had weird random cuts where all of a sudden there'd be dialogue, and then all of a sudden one of them, Mary-Kate or Ashley, would be like, "He's really cute," or something really weird like that. Very bizarre, just out of nowhere too. Just like a up close and they would say that, and then it'd like break to normal like the rest of the movie, and it was just not very good. Luckily it was only 93 minutes because it was very hard to watch, and again I'm giving this one an F. It was very bad. And then next up we watched BlacKkKlansman, directed by Spike Lee, starring Denzel Washington's son, John David Washington, I believe, and Adam Driver and Topher Grace and a few other people. It's based on a true story of African American undercover cop that infiltrates the Colorado division of the Ku Klux Klan in the either late 60s, early 70s, somewhere around there. And then Adam Driver character actually is the one that actually goes to the meetings and stuff. But John David Washington is the one on the phone. He was the one that infiltrated and spoke to these members of the Ku Klux Klan. Thought the movie was very good. It of course was up for Best Picture and didn't win that, but it won Best Writing or something. Spike Lee won his first Oscar for it. I thought it was very good. I'm giving it a B+. I definitely recommend it. It is, I don't know if the rewatchability is there as much as some other movies, but I look forward to watching it again, and I thought it was very good. Next up, on Valentine's Day, we watched Must Love Dogs, another John Cusack movie that follows John Cusack's character and Diane Lane's character. Diane Lane has just recently been divorced, and John Cusack, I don't think he was married. He was just suffering a tough breakup. So their friends and family try to get them both to start dating again, and they end up both are put on either, they don't do it themselves, but they're put on dating websites, and they end up going on a blind date. I won't go into much detail other than that, but it was an enjoyable rom-com, giving it a B. And then next up, we watched Widows on digital copy. I'll leave the link down below. One of my Instagram followers, cool guy, I traded him Game Night, the digital copy code for that, and he gave me the digital copy code for Widows. So we checked that out. It was like the first week it had been out, so we were looking forward to watching it, and it was just slightly disappointing. Stars a group of women. Their husbands were bank robbers, and their most recent job went bad, and the person that they were supposed to give the money to, or the person that they robbed him of $5 million, and he comes after one of the widows, or the widow of Liam Neeson's character, that is the coach, or he's the captain of the bank robbing team, and he approaches her and says that you have so many days to get me this $5 million that he stole from me. So she gets together the group of widows of the bank robbers to try to do this job that Liam Neeson has left as his next job. It hadn't completed since they died, and it's just kind of the story wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, and there wasn't that much action, and I was disappointed in it, giving it a C+. It wasn't awful, but I thought it was going to be better. And then next up we watched The Burbs, starring Tom Hanks. Also has Bruce Dern, Carrie Fisher, and Corey Feldman in it. Really enjoyed this one. It was a second time watch for me, first time for my wife. Follows Tom Hanks. I'm not sure what his profession is. I don't know if they actually ever say, but he's home for a staycation a whole week at his house, and his wife is Carrie Fisher, and instead of relaxing or going to a lake or doing something, he's just obsessed with the way his new neighbors are acting, and not only is he obsessed, so is his other neighbors, and it just kind of follows the story of that suburban town during this staycation. So is something really fishy going on, or is it just in Tom Hanks' mind? So really enjoyed this one, giving it a B as well. Next up, I was slightly disappointed in this. Watched this by myself. Shout out to viewer and friend Cody for giving this to me. We got The Necessary Evil, Supervillains of DC Comics. So it just talks about the supervillains of DC Comics. It was interesting. It was good. I just thought it was going to be better. I think part of the reason it kind of suffered was because it's only DC Comics, so it only had so many villains to talk about. So I think if it was about just supervillains in general, it probably would have been better. It's not bad. I'm happy to have it in the collection, but I'm going to give it a C+. Next up, thanks to Mill Creek for sending this for review. Second time watch for me. Might have been second time for my wife, I'm not sure. We watched The Rundown with The Rock and Sean William Scott. Also has Christopher Walken and Rosario Dawson. This is one of The Rock's earlier movies. He plays a bounty hunter who is working for, working for one of the characters in the film, and he wants to do this one last job and get out of there. And the job is to go to Hawaii and get the person he's working for's son who's down there. And it's Sean William Scott. And he makes it a pain. He's kind of like a treasure hunter. I won't go into much more detail, but it's very enjoyable, especially for early Rock films. I really liked it. Giving it a C+. And then we also watched Fighting with My Family, which is about Paige, the wrestler, and her story of her wrestling family. Won't go into too much detail. If you know Paige's story, then you'll know quite a bit about what the movie's about, but didn't really know her backstory before going to the film, and really enjoyed it. Thought the acting was really good, and the story was very good as well. So I'm giving that one a B. I thought it was definitely, of course, WWE Studios hasn't put out too many films, but easily I think it's their best one so far. Really enjoyed it and giving it a B. And then we also watched season 3 of The Office. Of course, I've talked about The Office before if you've watched my other reviews, but it's about a paper company that's in turmoil, and they do interviews kind of and film. There's a crew there filming for like a documentary thing, and it's all basically it's what it's about is the characters, not necessarily the paper company. But this is one of the better seasons. I kind of agree and think that the second season's the best. Sean Chandler Talks Movies, I think is what the name of his YouTube channel is. He did a seasons ranked, and he had the second season as the best. But some of the good episodes on this one are Gay Witch Hunt, The Convict with Prison Mike is very funny. The Traveling Salesman and The Return was very good. Ben Franklin was very good. Phyllis's Wedding was very good. Safety Training was pretty funny. And Beach Games in the Job. Whole season's good, so giving it a B+. So looking forward to watching the rest of it. I've already watched the whole series, but we're rewatching it together. So I think that's basically everything that we watched for the month of February. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what your thoughts are of this review, and if you have any questions for me, let me know down below. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet already done so. So this is Physical Media Man signing off. Physical Media will never die.
Physical Media Man. Physical Media Man. Physical Media Man. Yeah!